Welcome to another edition of PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. And today, we continue Bleach Legacy, What If Superman Was in Bleach, Season 1, Part 2. As always, if you're new to the channel, or if you're a regular and like what we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. With this series, we continue the crossover between Bleach and Superman. In our last part, both Clark and Ichigo, Clark being adopted by the Kurosaki family after landing in Japan instead of the farmed areas on the outskirts of Metropolis, he ends up being raised in the Kurosaki family as brother to Ichigo as well as Uzu and Karin. However, one fateful night, the two brothers would run into the Soul Reaper, Rukia Akutsuki, and their lives would change forever, as Clark would come to acceptance of his galactic past, as well as Ichigo taking on the role of a Soul Reaper. Now the two brothers, looking to discover the links of their true powers, fight side by side against the evil and dark forces known as the Hollows. For all this and more, stay tuned as we now continue today's story, and as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. For Ichigo and for Clark, you could say that the two brothers were now on a journey of self-discovery, learning more about themselves and about what they could do. Rukia acting as some sort of guide for the both of them. Ever since that fateful night, nothing had ever been the same for either brother. Not for Ichigo, who had now taken on the role of a Soul Reaper, or for Clark, who had now come to acceptance of his non-human past, accepting the fact that he truly was an alien from another world. Not that he didn't already know, but now he was more so committed to learning about the true origins of himself and as to what he could truly do. In the meantime, Rukia acted as a guide for the two brothers, as there was much more to this world that she knew compared to them. For one thing, they learned that Hollows didn't just exist on Earth. They existed on other planets, but there was a certain distinction. You see, uncommon to what you might believe, it's not necessarily true that every planet that exists is hospitable for humans, but even more so that Hollows could exist on those planets. Rukia would explain it a lot better through crude drawings. Okay, let's go over this one more time. Yes, there are other worlds out there in the galaxy, that is true, but there are two distinct types of worlds. There are habitable and inhabitable. Okay, so what's an inhabitable? Ichigo would ask. Well, inhabitable are planets with creatures and species that are, well, non-communicational, or I guess you could say they're more primal than domesticated. So imagine a world with alien creatures who are like lions and other animals you might see in zoos instead of being fully fleshed out individuals. For example, Rukia would then pull out her stuffed bunny. Take Bun Bun, for example. Bun Bun here is a bunny. Yeah. And while this bunny is a living creature and it has a soul, it has what I would like to call a non-communicative soul. Non-communicative? Well, there are better words to put it, but I guess I should describe it better. A real bunny, or a real animal, has no true desires before its actual functions, its actual purpose. Animals, they're born, they mate, they make a next generation, they grow old, and they die. That's just the cycle of life. They're part of a nature soul, if you will. A nature soul. Clark would be writing all of this down. Yes, creatures that have what we call a nature soul can't really turn into hollows because they never had wants or desires. They have no attachments to this world. Because of that, they have no reason to stick around. And it's for that reason hollows have no reason to go after them. I mean, what would be the point of going after the soul of a dog or a cat or something along those lines? But what about pets? They end up becoming attached to their owners, Ichigo would ask. Correct. Pets, and this is very, very rare, in fact, can sometimes be turned into hollows if their souls are devoured. But again, it's so minute and pointless that it really isn't beneficial. You could say that a hollow trying to take the soul of even a close family pet is the equivalent of a starving man. Someone who hasn't eaten in days, and the only thing he's given is a small piece of food. Something so inconsequential. Sure, it might leave a little good taste in their mouth, but it doesn't really quench their thirst or hunger, if you know what I mean. I see. So it isn't that going after animals isn't good, it's just that a hollow could devour the souls of over 1 million animals, and it wouldn't even come close to what one human could do for them. To be entirely honest, between having a herd of cows and one baby, the hollow would definitely pick the baby. So I guess it's not really a fan of beef, Ichigo would say. How about chicken? Clark would chime in. There was once an incident where a hollow did try to devour a horde of chickens. It didn't really go too well, and a farmer ended up losing most of his livestock. But, you know, the strange occurrences and such and so on. So, this Soul Society, other Soul Reapers, are they all, if you're wondering if they're all human, well, technically speaking, a Soul Reaper isn't really a human. They're something far more beyond. But if you're asking if other individuals from different worlds have become Soul Reapers, yes, a lot of them. Let's see. I know we have a Martian who's a Soul Reaper. Wait, you have a Martian that became a Soul Reaper? Clark would ask. Yeah, although he kind of keeps to himself a lot. Although his niece is pretty cool, though. Anyway, that's besides the point. Right now, her main focus is getting you two trained up to snuff, to make sure that you're capable of holding your own. You, though, Rukia would point to Clark, you are very interesting as a Kryptonian. Why is that? Well, for one, you're able to see hollows and spirits rather effectively, although you're not like Ichigo. I mean, you have a great power. I even say you could have potential with using soul power, but you almost don't even need to. I've been meaning to ask. If I have some great spiritual connection, what does it say about him? Does he have it? Well, he does, but it's kind of different. Your eyes. My eyes? Yes. Have your eyes felt normal as long as you've lived on this planet? Now that you mention it, not entirely. If I had to venture to guess, I would say that my eyesight, for the most part, it's very fine-tuned. At least to the point where I'm able to see things in great detail. I mean, great detail. Honestly, it took a while for me to adjust, but it really feels like the world's going in slow motion. At least when I was a kid, I could see and hear almost everything down to the last detail. It was pretty hard for me to miss anything for the most part, and because of that, it took a lot of training and focus for me not to have my senses be overwhelmed by this very world. Well then, Rukia would say, I guess we can just chalk it up to your alien heritage. In either case, are the two of you ready to commit? To commit to what? Ichigo would ask. Commit to saving lives. Souls. I mean, you do have the duty of a Soul Reaper, Ichigo. And you, Clark, With your power and potential, you could do great good in the world, even without being one. Before Clark could answer, Ichigo had already taken a stance. No. Me and my brother aren't just going to get involved for complete and total strangers all the time. Ichigo, Clark would say, but it doesn't mean that we're just going to let people get hurt. Not when we can do something about it. I don't know, alright? I mean, if we can help people, Ichigo, Clark would say, then shouldn't we at least try? I mean, yeah, our family could have gotten hurt, but there are other families out there, and they don't have the ability to protect their own like we can. I know that, Clark. It's just... I mean, it's a lot, isn't it? I mean, to put your life on the line over and over again, never knowing when any battle could be your last. I mean, we aren't superheroes or anything. Yeah, no one said we were. But even still, it doesn't mean we can't try to help as many people as we can. See, your brother has the right attitude. Sometimes it makes me wonder who really fell from outer space. And what's that supposed to mean? Ichigo would growl at Rukia. Oh, nothing. Well, anyway, looks like it's time for bed. Good night, everyone. Oh, good night. Hey! Who said you're staying in our room? What? I like the closet. It's nice and comfy. Also, I've already set up all my things, and, I don't really plan on leaving, so, there. Rukia would then shut the closet door as the two boys reclined themselves back to their bed. In the meantime, a girl that they had known in school, Orihime, was going about her nightly routine as she looked out of the window. Unbeknownst to her, there were great forces at work, ones that had targeted her specifically. The next day, as Clark, Ichigo, and Rukia would arrive to school, they would spot Orihime walking down the hall with Lois. Ichigo would bump Clark on the arm, giving him a wicked grin. Hey, look, it's your favorite reporter girl. Why don't you try and get an interview? Ichigo, shut up! Oh, does he have feelings for this Lois Lane? Rukia would ask. It's only been obvious ever since we were in grade school. Well, how long has it... Well, she came in from out of the States. She has family here in Japan, and she wanted to study abroad, so we've known her for a good 2 years now. And this boy's been smitten ever since. Come on, do you really have to? Yes, I have to. I'm not the one that stays up all night writing poems and love letters that I'm never actually going to send. I mean, he spent all day picking out the perfect bouquet of flowers just to get cold feet, and he never gave them to her. Aw, I think it sounds cute. Wait, what happened to the flowers? Oh, this guy didn't know where he was going, and he ended up tripping on a log, and he ended up floating down the river. It was not my best day, Clark would say. But still, at least you have the courage to pursue something that you truly want and desire. I don't think there's any wrong or shame in having these feelings. At least you're not a mindless, dead, orange-haired robot with no care at all. You talking to me, huh? I'll have you know. I just... Aw, cat got your tongue? Can't make a good comeback? I could throw you out of the window, you know, and there's not a damn thing you could do about it. You're the one that's trapped in the Gigai. Hey, I paid good money for this Gigai. If you so much as get even a scratch on it, you'll be hearing from my... Before she could finish that sentence, one of the doors would just randomly swing open and slap her right in the face. Oh, sure. I'll be hearing from your who? Huh? They got lawyers in the Soul Society? Huh? Ow! Oh! Rukia would then decide to go for a low blow, hitting him in the gut. You're gonna pay for that one day. I promise you. Oh, God. What? You thought I hit like a girl? I wonder if you're a girl or a hollow. Don't you dare call me a hollow. Okay, guys. Calm down. We're kind of getting a crowd here. In the meanwhile, Orihime was walking about with Lois. Orihime had been having a rather clumsy day, to say the least. For starters, she ended up tripping out of her apartment and ended up falling on the ground. Then when she was running to school, she ended up bumping into some people, and well, that didn't go too well for her. And then there was the weird concoctions that she chose to make for breakfast. Lois, in the meanwhile, was really concerned for her friend, but also for the state of the school's newspaper club. Hi, Lois, how are you doing today? Orihime would ask. Oh, I'm doing well. So, how did that nightly scoop go for you? Were you able to find that ghost you were looking for? No, not even close. And what's worse is that the head writer's really been on my ass lately. I mean, come on. We can investigate all these other nonsensical stories and headlines, but I just want to go after a simple ghost and everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. Oh, I don't think you're crazy. Hey, do you want to share lunch with me? I have some leftover yakisoba with some takoyaki, along with some honey and wasabi and some scallops. I think it's really good, and I brought more than enough to share. Orihime, do you need to see a doctor? No, why? That might give you explosive diarrhea. What? I'm gonna explosive diarrhea? It's gonna be bad for your stomach. You'll be in the bathroom a lot. Oh, no, that really doesn't happen to me all too often. Well, there was that time I ate way too much ice cream, and then that one really gave me a whirl. But it's okay. I still really like it. Yeah, but still, I am feeling a little hungry. Let's go get lunch. For the most part, the day would go about as ordinary as you would have expected it to. Ichigo got called by Rukia to go and deal with the stray hollow, and she had a particular way about doing it. You see, for Ichigo to turn into his Shinigami, or Soul Reaper form, it involved extracting the soul from his body. Rukia would do this with a red glove that was made especially for pulling the soul out of a body. Ichigo's main body would fall to the ground and he would become a Soul Reaper, someone that could only be seen by both Rukia and by Clark. Clark, in the meanwhile, could just transform into that new blue and red suit that he got, and thankfully he was able to move so fast and so quick that people could hardly see who he was. A couple of times while they had been doing this, a streak had gotten spotted in the air. Some people thought it was a bird, some people thought it was a plane. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. All the same though, that night, as the two boys were wrapping things up with homework and were getting ready to go to bed, it was when they would experience another attack. Through the room, a portal of sorts would open. A hollow with a snake-like tail would start to emerge, attacking them. Both Ichigo and Clark would hold their own against the hollow beast, Ichigo slashing at the hollow's face, which broke apart kind of like a mask, just allowing him to appear and get a glimpse of what was underneath. It looked like something that was human. Rukia stood in the back watching. What she had feared was indeed true. And even worse, more of the truth had now been exposed to the two boys. Clark, Ichigo would ask him. Yeah, I saw it. Saw what? Rukia would say. It was just for a moment, when my sword broke through his mask, that face underneath. I didn't want to admit it at first, but I think I know who that was. Clark would look back to Rukia to explain. A few years ago, Orihime had an older brother. He died in a car accident. His body was taken to the local hospital where our father worked. He didn't make it. I see. Ichigo, when you battle against the Hollows, it's best to strike from behind and go for the head. And why would you tell me something like that? Because it's the best way to avoid any serious or sustained injuries. And also, it's easier to not be exposed to the truth. The truth? Ichigo, you have to understand. Understand what? That was Orihime's brother. I know it. But why? Why did he become souls that don't pass on to the soul society? Ones that linger in their regret and despair and wander the earth. They end up becoming the Hollows. But I thought Hollows were nothing but the evil scum. The ones that had to be wiped away. And they do. It's what Soul Reapers do. Hollows, they devour souls. The weaker ones become the Hollows. It's a never-ending cycle. I had my suspicions for a while now, but I have reason to believe that Orihime's brother, his soul was recently taken over by a Hollow, and its focus is after you two. Us? There's been a great spiritual pressure. It's been coming from the two of you for a while now, more so Ichigo, but there's something dwelling within Clark also. The Hollows are attracted to you both. It's not a coincidence that they come after you specifically. And I believe that whoever had targeted you was using Orihime's brother's soul as a way to get to you. And now that it hasn't, it's going to set its sights on Orihime. As the three were talking and making their way towards Orihime's home, she and Lois were enjoying dinner together. Lois bringing some over because Orihime now lived by herself. Ever since her brother died, she had been on her own. Sure, there were friends that watched after her from time to time, but for the most part, the girl didn't have anyone. Her brother was 15 years old when Orihime was born, and it wasn't too long after when their parents abandoned them. Ever since, Orihime had been raised by her brother viewing her like the daughter he never had. As such, when he passed away, Orihime was left on her own. And while it was difficult at first, she grew to make friends. She actually grew on in her life, although unknowingly. The vestiges of her brother's soul, the ones of whom had never been laid to rest, became bitter and vengeful. And now the vengeful soul had descended upon Orihime and Lois. Lois, not being able to sense or understand the great force that was surrounding her, that was hurting her. For Orihime, her own soul had been taken from her body, and she watched on as the monstrous creature loomed over her friend, the creature that would make his presence known. You betrayed me, Orihime. You stopped praying for me. You stopped blessing over me. As time went on, you forgot about me. You betrayed me for them. I didn't. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. If you have any love left, you'll stay out of the way. You are not good for anything. You deserve to die. As the creature would lunge towards Orihime, he would be stopped in his tracks, Ichigo and Clark having arrived. Clark looking down at Lois, who had been injured, he rushed her over to safety before looking back at the Hollow, angered, not only for what he had done to Lois, but for what he had said to Orihime, and Ichigo followed the same sentiments. The two brothers battling back against the Hollow to the outside. The two of you, you took her away. She was mine before she was ever yours. Ours? No one owns her. You're supposed to be her brother, Clark would say. Do you know why brothers are born first? Ichigo would add in. The two would speak together. They're born to protect their little brothers and little sisters. You have no right to wish death upon her. Even a dead man would never stoop so low. You both will die. Ichigo and Clark would battle against the Hollow, as Orihime would arrive outside along with Rukia. She couldn't make sense of everything that was happening, but she knew one thing for sure. Her brother was in pain. As he managed to match against the two of them, she would rush in to hug her brother, stopping him in his tracks. Ichigo and Clark stood on guard, not knowing what was going to happen, who was going to make the next move. I'm so sorry, Sora. You're right. I truly was a big crybaby, wasn't I? Or I didn't allow your soul a chance to pass on. In my darkness, I just begged. I begged you to stay. I didn't want you to go. You've been watching over me for all this time. And I did forget. I wasn't a good sister. I'm truly sorry. As tears began to well in her eyes, Sora, the hollow mask now fading from him, his original face being shown, would wipe them away. No, you were an amazing little sister. I truly love you, and I'm sorry that this has happened. He looked back to both Ichigo and Clark. Thank you, the both of you. As he would take Ichigo's sword, he prepared to do away with his life. I don't have much time, but while I'm in control, I want to do this. While the brothers wanted to protest, Rukia would stop them. This is the best outcome. His soul can find peace. With that, he would plunge the blade into his chest, as his soul would evaporate and disappear, being freed of the curse that bound him. Both Ichigo and Clark would look on into the night sky, the two brothers lamenting the fate of Orihime's brother, Sora, the fate of his soul. The next day, Orihime would tell everyone about the crazy dream she had. Everyone couldn't possibly believe anything of what she said could be true. Well, not that they did, it was just a dream, but still, if she was going to have a dream, they thought she could have at least had a much more interesting one. And for Ichigo and Clark, they got to see firsthand what Rukia was capable of. For someone that couldn't use her soul powers, she had a lot of tools that came in handy, like a tool that made people forget everything they saw and replaced their memories with some strange dream. Rukia lamenting that they were just going to have to see what she dreamt up when they woke up the next day. All the same, though, the three stood on the roof of the school, overlooking Kurakura Town. This place, it certainly isn't for the faint of heart, Ichigo would say. Yes, although this is the duty of Soul Reapers, to help those who die pass on, to give them peace in the end. It's a great task, not one that can be taken lightly. Yeah, I kind of get it. So, look, I can't really say I'm fully on board with all of this, but for now, I'll help you out in your assignment as a Soul Reaper. I'm not really a Soul Reaper. Well, not technically, but I do have this power. And I feel like I have it for a reason. Honestly, when I was younger, I tried my best to keep it all suppressed, to keep it all bottled down. Looking back on it, it's filled me with a lot of regrets. I don't want to live with that anymore. Humans, souls, doesn't really matter to me. I have this power for a reason, to help those that can't help themselves. I want to help people, so I'll help you guys out any way I can. Rukia would smile, looking ahead to a future, despite the many challenges that would come along the way. They knew that whatever the obstacle, they could overcome it together. This concludes Bleach Legacy. What if Superman was in Bleach? Season 1, Part 2. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that has to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue Konosuba, the explosive sage of the wonderful world, based on the series What If Madara Uchiha was reincarnated in Konosuba? What if Jiraiya was in Konosuba? Part 2. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.